Okay, we are back. We're going to start painting the Stug. And before we start off, I just want to say I've got it base colored in a Tamiya desert yellow. I did that off camera. My airbrush setup is really messy. And right now my airbrush is more of a rattle can than anything else. But before we start off, what I want to say is when you're painting camouflage, you have to remember a couple things. And I've got a figure here. This is the size of the figure who's going to be painting your tank. So you've got, look at the size of his hands and just what he can do. So you got to remember, this is a guy who's out there in the field. German tanks came from the factory, Desert Yellow or Dunkelgelb, and they were issued a can of brown and a can of green, and you could thin that with either gasoline or water, and you could apply it either with an airbrush or a paintbrush. But you have to remember is you need to just kind of keep it in scale, because the reality is a paintbrush in this scale is probably about like that, maybe a little bit bigger. The other thing you have to remember is in modeling, the things that people are doing are incredible. They are artists, and the vehicles look really beautiful. But what you want to remember is that these guys were out in the field with minimal tools, and they were applying paint amongst whatever tasks and things they had to do. So my theory is it wasn't always beautiful. It was functional. So that's what we're going to do today. We're just going to do some functional painting, and I'll show you how to do a hard edge with a brush. And you can see I've got some of the shirts done, and I think it looks pretty good. And once we get it weathered, it'll look like it's been airbrushed on. But all right, stick with us, and here we go. All right, so what we're going to do is I've got the base color of Desert Yellow down, my version of Dunkelgelb. Got it sprayed on there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a bit of NATO green. I'm going to start with some NATO green, and what we're going to do is we're going to work this onto the panels. And I think a key for good camouflage is don't do any straight lines. So what I like to do is we'll get it matched up with this panel. I like to just kind of run it around like that, fill in the blanks. And remember, if this was field applied, you have to the viscosity or the opacity of the paints is going to vary. So if it's not solid, I don't think that's a big deal, and the weathering will take care of a lot of it. So what I like to do is I like to put some shapes on here of a single color, and we'll get these guys on here, and I'll show you what we're going to do. Just like that, and you notice no straight lines. I don't think straight lines are occurring in nature, and I just think it just looks a bit better. So what I want to do is just kind of match it up with the previous panel, with the panel next to it. Right, so I've got 3 on there, and I think that's going to go. So you can see how it looks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put a cover on that guy. I'm going to come back with NATO brown, and I'm going to use the brown kind of as a connecting color, and you'll see what I mean here in just a second. Use the brown as a bit of a connecting color. So we're going to take it off the previous panel, and we're just going to get him in and around, and he'll come back and he'll make that. So with me, the key is that the camo colors that you're adding, they touch. And we'll bring him around, so we've got him kind of coming over from the previous panel, and again, no straight lines, and we'll just take him right up there. Take him right up there. And the other thing you need to remember is not every German tanker was an artist. So what you want to do is you don't want to make it too perfect, although it looks really good. I mean, I've seen some camo schemes out there that are wonderful, but I think just to apply that onto the vehicle itself would have taken a long time to do, whereas you're out there in the field, you're just going to kind of get it on. And you've got other things you got to do. You've got vehicle maintenance, you got chow. You're probably going to want to sleep at some point, so you want to get this done. So we've got that like that. Okay, we're back. We've got the hull in front of us. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a little bit on the hull on camera, just so you get an idea how you would do this over multi-level, multi-surfaces, and you'll see the technique just about works the same. Again, remember, you're thinking a 35 scale guy with a 35 scale paintbrush applying this in the field amongst all the other tasks he's got to accomplish, plus trying to stay alive. So you can imagine he's going to get this done quickly. He's going to want to make it right, because hopefully the camouflage will improve his chances of survival, but he's balancing this between everything else he's got to do. And like I said, the paints, however they were thinned, is really gonna make a difference in their opacity or their opaqueness, whatever that word is. So we're gonna try to do it how I think he would do it, and we'll go from there. We'll come down. We're gonna paint the tools. Separately. They're on the vehicle, but I am going to paint them. More than likely, they would have just been painted over. But I just think it adds a bit of tonal variation, and it adds something to the vehicle when you have different colors on it. May not be real. Oops, I'm sorry, I whacked the camera. May not be realistic, but I think for my purposes, it'll be okay. And again, we're going to avoid straight lines, just kind of random shapes. And let's see what we can do here. So we've got that. And I'm just going to connect that. And I'll come back with a bit of brown. Really what I normally do is I just get one color on, and then I come back with the second color. But for purposes of this video, we're just going to do this area here. Work from there. And what I like to do is I kind of like the second camouflage color, I like to have it touching the first. So if you lay the green down or you lay the brown down, I just think it looks neat when the two camo colors kind of run with each other. And again, pull him up. And you just want to have kind of a logical beginning and end of the colors. So we'll just have this guy kind of wrap around and disappear. We'll do a little bit more work here. And again, not every German tanker was an artist, but you don't want to make it. Funnily enough, it's easier to make things look neat in scale than it is to make them look sloppy in scale. Because if you get it wrong, trying to make things look sloppy. It just looks like he kind of got lazy and did a half-baked job. So we'll kind of go with neat, but not too neat. So, and another thing we can do is, like I said, just kind of have a logical. Sorry about that. I keep whacking the camera. Trying to get this nice and close for you so you can see what I'm doing. Just kind of a logical beginning and end for the colors. Hey, we're going to do a little bit more work here on the Stug IV. I noticed in post-production I really didn't get a good view of the front, and I had some problems with storage, so the video ended early. But what we're going to do now is we're just going to go through, and we're going to work on the top of the vehicle in using the same techniques that we've talked about before, and hopefully you can get a better view of how we do this. So I'll just let the video play for a bit and see where we're at. And again, we're using a Tamiya NATO green. It's lightened a little bit just for scale effect, and I use it as some of my counter shade colors in other projects. But you can see here what we're trying to do is we're trying to get it small, because remember, the scale figure that's actually doing this isn't really that big, so he's not painting giant swaths of color. He's just working in little areas at a time, so that's what we're doing. And what I like to do is I like to lay the green down again, and then we'll use the brown as a connecting color. And we're just going to work on the top of the hull off camera, and you know, off camera we'll go ahead and we'll work it down the front and the sides and the back. But I just want to show you how I do a hard edge with a brush, and I'm pretty happy with the way it comes out. Hopefully you are too, and you can try this technique and it'll work for you. And again, we're avoiding straight lines, and we're trying to create logical beginnings and ends of the pattern. Now we're in with the NATO brown, and this is straight out of the bottle, just NATO brown. I haven't thinned this down. Well, I have thinned it down a little bit, but I haven't lightened it. So what I like to do as far as the camos, you've got the Duncan Gelb, the yellow out of the factory, and when applying the camo colors, the brown and the green, I kind of like to have them run side by side or interact with each other. So you can see I'm doing that here in the video. And you can see we're just kind of working it around near the green, but again, no straight lines, so a lot of swirls with it, and just kind of lining it up. I've seen that on the actual vehicles where the camo colors seem to interact with each other, so I'm trying to replicate that here. And also what I'm doing is, the way I'm ending the colors on the roof panel or the top of the hull, I'll be able to set that up to drag the colors down into the front of the upper hull and down the sides and through the back, so the camo will have a kind of a continuity throughout. But as you can see here, it's looking pretty good. All right, and next video I'll have the finished product. Okay, well here's our finished product. I think it came out pretty good. And I've got our artist there in a loader's position, proudly displaying his work. But I think it came out okay. I've got some of the decals on, and in our next video, we're going to start the weathering process. So thanks for stopping by, and I hope you enjoyed the video.